All right, what's going on, everyone? It's been a little over a year now since I first opened my American Express Platinum card. And what I wanted to do today is make an honest review on my experience with the card, whether or not I've been able to maximize the benefits, if I think it's been worth it, and tell you guys a little bit about whether or not this might be the right card for you, and if you might be able to do the same and make it worth it for yourself. So just to provide a little background, when I first applied for the card, I believe this was sometime last year, either March or April, I was able to get approved for it. If you guys remember, I think it was a year or two ago, I made a video about maximizing your credit score. And so I think at the time on Credit Karma, at least, TransUnion Equifax was saying that I had about a 760, 770, somewhere around that range. Might be a little bit off, but that was roughly where my credit score was at. And I was able to get approved for the card. It took about a week, and the card came in the mail. This was a very exciting time for me, joining the club, being a platinum, card holder. Now, as I mentioned in my last video where I talked about my fine hotels and resorts experience at the Sable at the Navy Pier in Chicago, where I spent the last weekend with a few friends. It was a pretty good time. You guys should definitely check that video out here if you haven't already. I will say that last year I didn't actually maximize the benefits to the fullest. I was able to get the 100,000 points sign-up bonus by spending, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 the first few months. That was really no issue, but the rest of the benefits that really make this card worth it, I either wasn't aware about at the time, I didn't really do too much digging, or I just didn't explore them on my own. And so what I'll try to do today is touch on all the different benefits and how you can maximize them and whether or not I've been able to actually utilize them with my everyday spending habits. So right off the bat, we'll address the fact that the AMEX Platinum card right now has an annual fee of $695. This is up from, I believe, $550, which is what the annual fee used to be. And I believe what I actually signed up for when I first applied for the card. But the first annual fee that I paid for was $695. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but the $695, right off the bat, you can cover with the 100,000 points that you get, because 100,000 points with your card is transferable to at least about $1,000 in travel benefits and other things that you can literally buy or use as credit to pay for things that are expensed to your card during that first year. So if you think about that, your first year expense is actually you're gaining $300 because of the sign-up bonus if you're actually able to maximize that. So in addition to the Platinum card, I also have other credit cards that I used previously. The only one that I was paying for before my Platinum card was the Capital One Venture Rewards, which is previous to the Capital One Venture X Rewards card, which they have now that has pretty much made my old card obsolete. But I was paying $99 for that per year and had pretty good benefits. I believe it was 3X, 5X, something like that on travel. Pretty good cashback type of system where you get a lot of points. It's a pretty good travel card, but doesn't have the robust sort of benefits that American Express does. Now, I will say that the American Express Platinum card is indeed a travel rewards card. So for whatever reason, if you have no interest in traveling whatsoever, or you just prefer staying at home and never flying, never staying in a hotel, none of these things, never taking an Uber, then frankly, the card is not going to be worth it. So we'll just get that out of the way. So if you don't want to travel, you have no interest in traveling, then this card simply won't be worth it, because after year one, it's going to become less and less worth it, as there's not going to be the same sign-up bonus, 100,000 points every single year. Now that being said, let's go ahead and break down the benefits of this card. So the first one is 5X on points in prepaid hotels. So for myself, my unit is in California, which means that in the Army Reserve, I have to travel at least once a month on my own dime, pretty much, to travel to my unit to go to work. And so this is in addition to any leisure travel that I might take. I have friends in other states, both the West and the East Coast, and so living in Texas, flights are reasonably priced from Austin going elsewhere. 5X points on flights and prepaid hotels is a pretty good deal, since I do travel quite a bit and I'm able to maximize those point benefits by racking them up pretty much every month. The next one here is directly linked to being able to travel, and that's the American Express Global Lounge Collection. So what this means is you get priority pass, which is great, but that's actually no different than any other premium credit card where you get travel benefits. So for example, the Venture X, CSR, Chase Sapphire Reserve, and other travel credit cards would normally have the priority pass lounges. Now, the one thing the American Express does have that these other ones don't is the Delta Sky Club lounge access. And I will tell you that the Delta Sky Clubs that I've been to, especially in certain airports, are the best lounges that I've been to, even better than the Centurion lounges. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's because number one, there's usually not a wait to get into them because they usually have multiple lounges throughout the airport. Second is that Delta actually has them well staffed. There's plenty of food. There's never a shortage of whatever premium products there might be in the lounge. And in addition to that, they're usually well placed outside of gates and in the terminals that you'll actually need to fly. If you're flying Delta, obviously. And so you're able to access a Sky Club lounge just by showing your Platinum card, as well as having a flight on Delta that same day. So I've been able to maximize this benefit quite a few times by stopping over in a Sky Club lounge, either before or during a layover during one of my flights in the past year. The next one here, I only recently discovered. For whatever reason, I didn't realize that there's a 240 digital entertainment credit, which means that you get $20 per month, which is applied towards basically Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus. What I did was get the package, so I think it's $13.99, which you get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. All together for $13.99 a month, but it's actually free because the card credits cover that payment, so that you don't have to pay for it yourself. So that's a pretty good thing, especially if you're not on somebody else's account already for Disney Plus or Hulu or those other services. Now the $200 Fine Hotels and Resorts credit, basically a $200 hotel credit, is going to be pretty useful if you're able to especially split it with your friends. It's a great way for you and your friends to knock off a little bit from the bill, as well as getting some credits for when you're actually staying at the hotel. So for example, we got $100 to spend at any restaurant or bar on the premises of the Navy Pier at Chicago when we were there. And it was a pretty good experience. Definitely elevated my expectations and perception of Chicago and the city. And so, I really think that it was a great way to be able to maximize that credit, as well as get a nice trip in with some friends during this year while flights are still somewhat reasonably priced. Again, I went into more depth in that video about my Fine Hotels and Resorts experience to use that $200 hotel credit. So if you haven't checked that out already, do so here. It's a definitely useful video and a fun one to watch. The next one here, the $200 airline fee credit. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys a little hack. So the $200 airline fee credit is designed to be only for incidentals for a singular airline of your choice. So normally I would pick Delta or Alaska Airlines because that's usually the service that I take from Austin to go to either Seattle or San Jose or San Francisco, wherever it might be on the West Coast. And what I realized is that there's a better way to do this, to actually use this $200 airline fee credit to actually buy flights. And so the way you do that is, for myself, I've been able to use it on the United Travel Bank. So what you want to do is actually purchase Travel Bank credits. The best way to do this, since it's $200, is to do 2 instances of $100 on the United Travel Bank website. I'll show you guys how to do that here. And essentially what it does is give you access to purchasing flights through United and utilizing this credit to actually buy a flight. So if you guys aren't using the $200 airline fee credit for, let's say, checked bags, like myself, if you're in the military, you automatically get checked bags for free, up to 5 of them, I believe, so you're not gonna be able to use that. Buying drinks on an airplane, I hardly ever do that. And then seat upgrades, usually those are available if the flight isn't full. And so being able to milk this credit to actually buy flights, I think it is pretty big. The $200 Uber Cash is something that I wasn't completely clear on when I first got the card. So I want to clarify that the $200 Uber credit is $15 per month and then $25 every December. So for whatever reason, it's a little bit more at the end of the year, but it's not $200 to spend all at once. And so if you rack up, a $200 Uber from New York to DC or something like that, I think it's definitely gonna be more than that, but that's not gonna be covered by this credit. It's only gonna be the $15 off if you haven't already used it that month. That being said, it is pretty useful, I think, because if you wanna say use Uber Eats, it can be applied to that. It doesn't have to just be an actual Uber trip. And so what I usually just do is Uber Eats like a Chipotle burrito, get it delivered to my house and get chips and guac, and it's usually all included under $15. And so it's a good way to just knock out free meal every month, take advantage of that credit. So now we've walked through some of the primary benefits that are actually marketed and promoted by American Express. But what I want to do now is actually talk about some of the differentiating factors from the American Express Platinum card and some of the other premium travel cards you can get, like the CSR, the Venture X, and other travel cards. I think because some of the benefits that you're going to get out of the American Express Platinum are actually not the ones discussed on their website or constantly promoted for you to use, because they're the ones that will actually make the most bang for your buck off of the annual fee. I'll go ahead and start with one that's actually not even a benefit. So the first one is actually knocking off most of your annual fee every single year. So this has obviously worked for me only the 1 year so far, but the one data point, I'll explain to you guys how that worked. So basically, I was actually thinking about closing the card because I was like $700, that's not gonna be worth it for me. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to travel as much next year. If I'm deployed, I'm obviously not gonna travel at all. You know, this doesn't really make much sense for me. So basically I explained those things to the customer service representative, which by the way is actually pretty good with American Express Platinum because they have a dedicated line that you can actually speak to a real person. All you have to say is speak with an associate like 5 times and then get an associate pretty quickly. But I was able to explain that to the associate and tell them, you know, I want a retention offer because otherwise I'm gonna close my card. I don't think it's worth it for me. So what they were able to do is offer me $550 in credit on my card for spending, I think is another $3,000 on it. Mind you, you're not gonna be able to just get this credit if you're never using your Platinum card. You actually have to be spending it throughout the year. And frankly, I spend quite a bit on this card and hardly use my other credit cards as I talked about at this point. And so for them, it made sense to actually give me this offer and return $550 basically, which means that for my first year, spending the $700, taking $550 off, it was really only a $150 fee. And if you consider the other benefits I was able to maximize, there was 0 annual fee, and I was actually able to make money off of this card by having it for the first year. So that's a big one. Call customer service if you're not satisfied, you know, see what they can do to give you a retention offer, and if they can, great, because it could be something even better than $550. You know, there's a possibility they might waive the fee. But again, this is my experience. You know, don't take it for fact. I think it might depend on how much you actually use the card and that sort of thing. But definitely give it a try if that's something you want to maximize and reduce the annual fee quite a bit. Next one I want to touch on that's actually super useful is all of the insurance benefits you get with buying anything pretty much on your Platinum card. So for example, if you're going to use a rental car or purchase something on your card that's either like a hotel or a major purchase like a DSLR or something like that, and let's say you drop your DSLR, the AMEX Platinum has a purchase protection plan, which actually allows you to get reimbursed for that if you actually lose or break your device and can prove that you actually purchased it on that card. So I think that's a huge benefit that I don't think other major cards have. And for as much as I travel, for example, the rental car insurance, I never have to choose all the options on Avis to actually purchase the insurance policies from Avis. By actually purchasing the rental car with my AMEX Platinum, it automatically applies that insurance policy. In case anything happens, I'll be able to have it covered. There was a situation last year, unfortunately, where I had my car broken into. This is a rental car in San Francisco, which apparently is a very common occurrence. And unfortunately for me, I have that condo there, and so I have to deal with that situation every now and then until I actually get this place sold. So I reached out to American Express about the situation, told them I had my belongings stolen from the car and there was damage to the rental car. And just to tell you guys how the situation went, it was a little bit frustrating trying to get them to reimburse the actual belongings in the card because I think that's a little bit of a gray area, but they were willing to cover any expenses of damage done to the rental car itself. So again, this is that rental car insurance policy that they're able to cover any damage or liability that you have to the car based off of the rental car company coming after you for certain expenses. So that's definitely a plus and a good peace of mind in case you get a rental car with American Express Platinum. The last thing I'll touch on is the offers that you get with the AMEX Platinum. This is another tab that I didn't even realize existed until recently. As I talked about earlier, there was an offer I had recently where I was able to spend $50 at Walmart and get $25 back, effectively making it a 50% off purchase. This is something that they offer certain percentages off or double points, triple, quadruple points on certain purchases, and give you decent discounts on certain purchases that you might make in your everyday life. So all you have to do is scroll through the offers and actually apply them to your card, and you can only have 100 of them populated at a time. So if you're looking and seeing why you don't have 100 offers fully populated on your card, what you have to do is actually add them to the card, and then you refresh the page, and then it'll go back and actually apply them, add up to a total of 100. So hopefully this video is useful for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. Comment if you guys have any questions. I'll do my best to answer and try to help out where I can. Like I said, those groups probably have way more gurus than I'll be able to provide answers right here. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.